Yeah, so ultrasound it's the Swiss Army knife of predictive maintenance tools. If there is any electrical emission or fault condition that's present, we're going to hear it airborne and structure-borne wise.
Ultrasound is about detecting the things most people can't see or hear. In your view, what does it reveal about electrical systems that other technologies miss?
Great question. So one of the things that ultrasound can detect that is not presentable through IR because it just doesn't produce any heat is something called treeing. Another aspect that is also not going to produce heat is corona. And then we also have Nixer voids and insulated material. Those will not produce any visible IR indications. And in the case of a contact test with an ultrasound unit, we can actually determine bubbles in an oil field transformer that can only be detected when doing dissolved gas analysis. Yes, it's one of the lesser known items that people aren't aware of, and then they come through the training classes and they're like, oh, I didn't know that.
What do you say to people who think thermal imaging is enough? What's the cost of relying on just one technology?
Well, would you rely on your doctor only taking your temperature when you're not feeling well? No, there's other diagnostic tools they're going to use. So the days of vibration is the only thing, and infrared's the only thing, and ultrasound fighting each other for position in a maintenance program, that's the dinosaur, going back to Alan Ross. It's the dinosaur way of doing things. We have to integrate. One technology complements another, and that's what we really strongly show when we teach about infrared and ultrasound in our classes, is that if you don't have the presence of one, but you have the presence of other, it's not saying that technology is bad. It's saying that that technology is going to see these things that ultrasound won't pick up, or ultrasound's going to hear what IR doesn't see. It complements and it helps confirm the diagnosis, giving the technician and that CBM analyst the capability to confirm that, hey, through our testing, this one presented and this one presented, so I know it's this, or this, the IR didn't present, but the ultrasound did present, and we analyzed the sound wave, and the analyzer gave us the indication of corona.
How does ultrasound inspection help spot problems before heat, vibration, or visual signs emerge?
Well, I go back to the adage, or the four events, the bubbles in oil field transformer, not going to produce any heat that you're going to see externally, because you've got the mineral oil, or in some cases PCB oil on some of these older transformers that acts as an insulative barrier. Then you've got the outer casing of the transformer that's not going to radiate that heat from the coil outward. So that's one of them. Nixon voids and insulation, like I mentioned, same thing. They're not producing any heat. So ultrasound's going to hear that sound, and often it sounds very much like a static on a radio, whereas corona is going to sound almost like a little bit of a sizzling, popping. Some people say, eggs frying, bacon frying. And then you get your treeing where you have a little bit more consistency, a little bit more amplitude, but the durations are short when you look at the time waveform. So those four factors for electrical inspection will not produce any infrared. And again, infrared still works. It's just not seeing it. So that's proof positive that it's got to be one of those four things. And when you're dealing with airborne, now I'm down to 3 of those 4 factors, because we're not going to hear an airborne transmission of an internal bubbles in oil situation.
Ultrasound can detect things like arcing and tracking inside panels. What kind of failures are we preventing when we catch those early?
Well, I mean, the biggest one catching those early is you avoid the face-to-face, face-to-ground that causes the arc flash. You also improve the power quality by finding these things as well too, because that's the backside of these issues. Is if you have a loose connection, you're not getting clean power. If you got LEDs feeding stuff, you're not getting clean power either. So you start running into a situation where, you've got this event going on, it's unknown, and you can have flickering of lights. That was one of the things going back to Alan's presentation. He had that whole list of harmonics, and you can have, in the case of the article that I just wrote about the 6-time line frequency event we found, you have all these unknown factors of harmonics that are causing power quality issues as well. And that's one of the other things that, treeing, tracking, arcing, they can all create issues that are unknown, but can cause a direct effect on the production line. Oh, why is this line shutting down? Well, we've got a dirty power situation. We're not getting clean power, and it's it's ramping up and ramping down because there's a loose connection. So there's all these things downstream of where that event's going on that are also affected. And that shortens the life of the asset as well, too.
You've trained a lot of teams. How do you get people past the novelty phase and into the discipline of consistent, structured ultrasound use?
So that's always with any technology, whether it's infrared, vibration, or ultrasound. You always have the dinosaur, we've always done it this way, I don't want to change. So one of the most successful ways to get anybody up and running and to get them comfortable with this equipment is to put it in their hands. Like you can do a training class, but if you do it at a hotel, where are you going to test? If you do the training on site at their location or at another site that has assets that they can physically take the equipment out on, build their confidence that this is actually working and it does do what they say it does. That's one of the biggest things I always saw in demonstrations is people like, oh, that ultrasound, it's black magic, it's voodoo, it doesn't do anything. But as soon as you put those headphones on and you took them out and you showed them an electrical anomaly and you let them hear it, and then they take the headphones off and they're like, I don't hear anything. Yeah, exactly our point. It's in the ultrasonic range. You're not going to hear it, but this device does. So that confidence building is really where you kind of get that turnaround. And usually about halfway through the first day of hands-on, that's when you start seeing the guys getting excited and the gals, and they want to venture off and go test other things. Hey, I know I've got a pump that's going bad, or hey, I've got this bearing that's going bad. So that's how the confidence in the equipment is built. You have to put stuff in people's hand. They have to have training behind it that really emphasizes the applications and the use of the equipment.
Are there emerging use cases, battery systems, renewables, high-density servers, where ultrasound will become even more critical?
Yeah, so ultrasound it's the Swiss Army knife of predictive maintenance tools. If there is any electrical emission or fault condition that's present, we're going to hear it airborne and structure-borne wise. Now, let me just emphasize for safety, never make contact on energized gear with a contact module if you have one. Please, never break the plane if you're doing airborne ultrasound and the panel's off. And also make sure you're wearing proper PPE if you're in that position. But anything that produces friction, turbulence, electrical emission will be detectable with ultrasound with either a contact or an airborne module. So for batteries, for example, we've always tested battery banks. Lead battery banks are one of the biggest risks that people kind of let go. It's just a battery bank, can't do anything. Well, they're all daisy chained together, so there's a lot of energy stored there. So yeah, they can cause issues and they will produce corona. They will produce arcing. I remember years ago, I had a rechargeable Energizer battery going, and all of a sudden in my ear, I could hear something going off, and I put on the ultrasound device and there it was. And I looked over at it and it was bubbling away. So it was starting to cook off. So we can use ultrasound for very small events that people don't even think about. And these high density solar fields, there's things we can do there. Wind turbines, there's a lot of applications, because again, it comes down to, is the sound airborne? Is it structure borne? And then from there, is it an electrical anomaly? Is it an impacting issue, or is it a frictional occurrence?
Red Talks features voices driving safety, reliability, and innovation forward in the industrial world. If your work challenges the status quo, we'd like to hear from you. Learn more at redtalk.com/about.